So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers won in week number 1, and you better believe it mattered in the biggest ways possible. Shout out to Sleeper, by the way. More on them a little bit later on in this video. So the Bucs won an absolute nail biter against the Falcons in week number 1. Went down to the wire, went down to a missed game-tying field goal by the Falcons at the end. But the Falcons missed that field goal. The Buccaneers start off 1-0. And quite frankly, there is no better team that the Buccaneers could have beat in week number 1 than the Atlanta Falcons. The first reason for that is because it's always fun to beat the Atlanta Falcons, right? I feel like, and we've heard a lot of players talk about this, a lot of fans talk about this as well, with the Saints kind of entering rebuild mode and things along those lines, the Falcons have been the Bucs' biggest rivals and the biggest competition for the NFC South. They have been a team that has really been, on their high horse, so to speak, in terms of drafting a shiny new quarterback, having a lot of shiny new weapons on the offensive and defensive sides of the ball, and saying that, like, hey, the Falcons are going to be a real threat to win the NFC South. And quite frankly, they have been a legitimate threat the past couple of years to win the NFC South. So it's been a very fun rivalry to see develop back and forth, especially with the players and just their overall thoughts and opinions evolving over time between shifting from the Saints to the Falcons in terms of that mentality of who is the biggest rival for the Bucs right now. But it does go deeper than just, hey, LOL, fun to beat Falcons, Falcons choked, lol, right? It goes much, much deeper than that. But before we do talk about that, guys, I do want to say real quick to the shout out to the sponsor of this channel. It is Sleeper. When you guys use the code MrBucs, you get a $100 deposit match up to $100 on your account. That is, again, whenever you use the code MrBucs. Guys, Sleeper has been fantastic to me for the channel and just in terms of getting me, more opportunities, and it is the best way to experience and connect over sports together. It's a one-stop shop for all your sports needs. You can celebrate and chat on games in real time with other users, get the fastest scores, fast news, alerts right at your fingertips, and play in fantasy leagues and win real money on pick contests. So you can enjoy sports the way they were meant to together. Download the #1 sports app today, everybody. It is Sleeper. Now, back to what I was saying in terms of the importance of this win, okay? Not only is it LOL, Falcons choke, Bucs beat Falcons, that's fun. The Falcons, as I said, right now are tabbed to be the biggest competitors to the Bucs for the NFC South crown, for the NFC South title. Guess what? That's a playoff spot as well. You have a game up on them now, okay, out of 2. And last year, that was a big contending factor as to the Bucs possibly not winning the South was, well, the Falcons swept them, so the Falcons will have any tiebreakers. Thankfully, it didn't go down to tiebreakers, but it would have been, but if it would have, the Falcons would have had the edge there. Not the case right now. Because right now, the Bucs have that game victory over the Falcons. The worst the Bucs can do is split with the Falcons, which I'm going to tell you right now is a whole heck of a lot better than getting swept by the Falcons. They also don't have to play Atlanta until all the way in week number 15 on December 11th, Thursday Night Football. Okay, so you don't have to worry about Atlanta now going forward for the next couple of months. That's an insanely positive thing also. Yes, you do start off 1-0. Yes, it is obviously nice. By the way, the rest of the teams in the NFC South lost as well. Carolina lost to Jacksonville, and New Orleans lost to Arizona, so the Bucs are in sole possession of first place in the NFC South right now. That is also very important as to why this win would happen, but you could also say that just if the Buccaneers beat any team in the rest of the NFC South lost, right? But division wins matter so freaking much, especially against the team that is tabbed to be your biggest competition for that NFC South crown title. That matters a whole heck of a lot as well. I remember I saw a lot of people say like, hey man, this is essentially a playoff game. And you know what? Maybe it is, because again, that is how important it is with these division games and winning the division and all these different types of things, right? It gives you momentum. It gives you all the positive things that you need early on in the season. You get that boulder off of your back of, hey, we got swept by Atlanta last year. Now you can go out and say, oh man, we got that out of the way early and we won. That's a fantastic momentum shift. That's a fantastic just hype moment for the Bucs to be able to go out there and have momentum in their favor against the Houston Texans in week number 2. It's incredibly important. And again, winning division games matter for playoff spots, for division crowns, for all of those different types of things, right? So I'm going to be very curious to see how the Bucs look in week number 2 at Houston. With this new momentum on their side, with a big sigh of relief for a division crown in there as well. It's huge, man. So right now the Buccaneers are number 1 in the division at 1-0. Even if the Buccaneers lost last week and the rest of the NFC South won, the Buccaneers would still be 1-0 because of that tiebreaker there with the with the Falcons, divisional record, things along those lines. So it cannot be stated enough how huge of a win this was for Tampa Bay. We're going to have to wait and see if they can continue to grow on that going forward. What were your guys' thoughts and opinions about this win? Let me know down in the comments section below. I would love to hear it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope y'all enjoyed. As always, guys, I'll see you all in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs.